Right, these are pretty handy. You would have done a lot of them at junior set, right? So the first thing I always ask people is, can people identify the difference between x3 by x5 versus x3 to the power of 5? Okay, Killian, what's the answer to the first one? X to the power of? It is x to the power of 8. And what's the answer to the second one? The second one is x to the power of 15. Now, if you're wondering why, here's exactly why. This means XXX. That means 3 of them. That means 5 of them. How many of them do you see in a row then? 8. 8 of them multiplied by 2. Right? Next thing. In the second one, see that bracket 5? Guess what that means? It means x3 by another x3 by another x3 by yet another x3 by yet another x3. If you link all those x's in a row, how many of them is there? 15. X by x by x multiplied by x multiplied by x, 15 times. Another thing I always ask, and I only ever really ask my second year, is this. What's the difference between x multiplied by 3 and x to the power of 3? X to the power of 3 means x multiplied by itself 3 times, while x multiplied by 3 means just multiply 3 by x, or add x to itself 3 times. One of them's x multiplied by itself 3 times, the other one is x added to itself 3 times. You're going to remember that for good, never going to have to do it again? Yeah, that's the spirit, Alex. Now, next thing. Can anybody tell me what's 5 to the power of 0? Alright? And I get asked this every year, no matter how many times I do it. Okay? So, I'll give you a really quick example. Can anybody tell me what's 2 to the power of 4 divided by 2 to the power of 3? You take away them, don't you? Because there's essentially 4 of them on top. There's 3 of them on the bottom. And when you say cancel them out, you're actually turning them into 1. So how many 2's are left on top? 1 of them. Now, this brings you back to the power of 0 business. Now, the power of 0 business works like this. When you see the power of 0, okay, what's 25 divided by 25, anybody? 1. 25 could also be written as 5 squared over 5 squared, can't it? And what's 2 take away 2? So you just have to prove that 5 to the power of 0 is in fact 1. Pretty much anything to the power of 0 is 1. Is that right? So, that's the next part done. Now, next part after that is the square root part, right? So let me try and do this now. Alright. Can anybody tell me what's the square root of 25 in power form? Is 25 to the power of? Anybody? Aha. They're both the same thing. They mean the same thing. And therefore the answer will be 5. Can anybody tell me what is the cube root of 27? Anybody know what the cube root of 27 is? 3. Anybody know how to write that in power notation? 27 to the power of? A third, which is 3. Right. Does anybody know how to write this one down? I think the answer is 5. 5 by 5, 25 by 5, 125 by 5, 625. So the answer is 5. How would you write it in power notation? Alright, are we all getting the gist? Alright, now here's where it gets slightly harder, okay? Or slightly more difficult. So, imagine a case like this, where I wanted the 4th root, like so, and inside there is 27. Okay? Here's a cheap way of doing this, and I say it's 3 to the power of something. Okay? A really cheap move in your calculator, if you're ever confused, Does everybody know the fact button here in yellow writing? Press 27. Press Shift Facts. And what does it do? It turns anything into powers. If it can be turned into powers, it will do it for you. Everybody cool with that? Now, what do I change the 27 into? 27 is now being converted into. Okay, one more time. 27. Shift. And then you press the fact button. Oh, sorry. Press 27, press equals, then press Shift Facts. There we go. Now, lads, what have I changed the 27 into? 27 can be changed into 3 to the power of 3. Can anybody dare to guess the answer for this one? 3 to the power of 3/4. Not 1/4, 3/4. Because it's actually 3 to the power of 3 to the power of 1/4. Does everybody remember what I did at the start? I asked you what x to the power of 3 to the power of 2 is. And most of you just told me it was x6, didn't you? Because you multiplied them by each other. So what are you going to do with that 3 and that quarter? What are you going to do with them? Huh? Multiply them. Okay? And you'll get 3 to the power of 3/4. You may need to you need to know all of that like this. Okay? You shouldn't even have to look at your tables on page 21. But in the meantime, you can look at your tables on page 21. Okay? Now, really quickly then. So, bit of a quick fire round here. Let's try this out. Alright. Daily, answer the first one. A5. 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay, let's try this again. Balaam, next one. X1, X1 and an X2. X4. Alright, on the next one, 2 multiplied with 3, 6, no bother. How many X's do you have? X to the power of? Because it's X3 by X3, which is X6. Next one, Oscar. X5 divided by X2? Yes, it is. Next one, X4 divided by X5? X power minus 1, happy days. Next one here, A to the power of 0? 1. Cube root of 27? 3. A3 by 2? A6. X3 to the power of 2? X6 divided by X3? X3. And finally, 3AB multiplied by another 3AB? 9A squared. Alright. The next thing we didn't go over, which is powers are generally always positive. They're always positive, unless the original number is negative. So let me give you an example, okay? So I did this with, I think I did this with some of the third year lads, again straight through. Something like this. Alright guys, what's 3 to the power of 0? Anybody? 1. What's 3 to the power of 1? Alright. And then 3 to the power of 2. You get the gist, don't you? It's going to keep going up by 3 every time. However, what happens when it goes negative? 3 to the power of minus 1, anybody? 1 over 3. 3 to the power of minus 2, anybody? 1 over 3 squared, which is actually 1 over 9. Do you see the way it's symmetrical? 3 squared, it's 3 to the power of minus 2 is 3 squared upside down. You get that? Okay. So, what do you know about all the numbers? Are any of them ever negative? No. If the original number is positive, none of them are ever going to be negative. But what's going to happen as the power gets more and more and more negative? What's going to happen? It's going to get ridiculously small until it's practically zero. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not zero, but it's so close that it's practically nothing. Everybody agree with that? So if you put in, for example, if I put in 3 to the power of, I don't know, minus 200. Alright, doesn't even give you an answer. But see the way it says to the power of minus 96, yeah? See the way it says 10 to the power of minus 96? Some of you probably can't, it's probably a bit small. We'll do it here. So, what this means here, what this little part here means is that, see this number here? Essentially divide the green number by 10 96 times. And that's how small your number is. Does everybody know what that means now? Divide your green number by 10 96 times, and that's how small it is. Cool. Alright, let's move on. In question 2, you use your calculator. You can all use your calculator to do question 2. Should not be an issue. Okay? Let's move on. You can also do question 3 with your calculator. You can do question 4 with your calculator. And technically, you can do question 5 with your calculator as well. Everybody, while we're here, everybody do question 5 with your calculator. So far, I've done question 1 and question 5. You're 1 and you're 5, okay? Now, everybody put into the calculator, did everybody get 1 over 16? Shift back 16. What you get when you shift back 16? Actually, scratch that. You'll actually get 2 to the power of 4. But you actually want... Why do I want 4 squared? It says it wants to the power of 4n. Does anybody know what 1 over 4 squared is? 4 to the power of? Anybody? 4 to the power of minus 2. Alright, let's try this one out. What's 1 over x to the power of 6? Can anybody tell me? X to the power of? Minus 6. What's 1 divided by Kenny to the power of Phelan? No, I'm serious. That's actually how math works. Yeah, Kenny to the power of minus Phelan. It doesn't matter what's in there. It's going to be the power of the negative one. Okay? It doesn't matter what's in there. Once it's in brackets, you can write what you want. So that's Kenny to the power of minus Phelan. Hopefully I got that point across. Yes, sir.
I don't even there's a 1 over.
Yeah, but if there was a 3 over, guess what you do? Just factorize out the 3 and leave the 1 behind. So it's not an issue. Okay? Now, lads, the second way of doing this is like so. Here's what I could do. If I want to do this manually without the calculator, don't know why you would, but here we go. What do I change 16 into? I can change 16 into 4 squared, can't I? What can I change 64 into? 4 cubed. And finally, what can now look at this, I'm going to do them all individually. That's 4 to the power of 2. Everybody cool with that? What's 2 times a half? 1. What's 3 times 2/3? 2. And what's on the top? Top is 4 to the power of 3. The bottom is 4 to the power of 5. What's 3 take away 5? I'm able to do them manually, or I can do them by calculator. Given that you're in an H2 class, you probably should be able to do the same. Okay? That makes sense? Should be able to do it both ways. Calculator, check your answer. Obviously in the tests, you use the calculator, then you might check your answer, okay? Whatever you need to do. That's 5 done. Now finally, something worthy of our attention. Where letters, you're going to do 6 tonight as well. So you guys are currently doing 2, 3, 4, and 6, mainly calculator work. Now we're going to go on to question 7, which is worthy of us. Question 7, you no longer have use of your calculator. Your calculator won't work for you anymore. Okay? So here's what you need to do. Can anybody tell me? We'll just do this really quickly. What's 3x y to the power of 4. Just out of interest. Can anybody do that for me? 3 to the power of 4?
81.
X to the power of 4? Y to the power of 4. Everybody see that? You see the way the 4 worked on every single part, didn't it? And you end up with 81 x4, y4. Everybody cool with that? Now let's make this a bit more difficult. We'll go for a fraction, okay? And we'll go for 3x2 divided by y3, 2y3 to the power of 4. How do I do this one really quickly? Can anybody tell me? Any ideas? 3 to the power of 4. X squared to the power of 4 on the bottom. Anybody? 2 to the power of 4. And then? Okay, perfect. Into your calculator you get 81 on top. And you get x8, yeah? And then on the bottom? 16 y to the power of 12. We all good so far? Alright. So, with this in mind, I'm going to try and tackle a few of these ones, okay? Now, to be honest, which ones look the worst? 5 looks grim. 6 looks grim. 4, 5 and 6 look grim. And the other ones don't look too bad, right? So let's do 5. And I'll do 5 anyway, right? We'll start with 5. Now, a root b. What is root b in power form? Huh? Yeah, I'm going to change that to b to the power of a half straight away. To the power of minus 3. And then on the bottom, does everybody see the line goes all the way across? Yeah? So, that's a to the power of 3 by b to the power of, is it a third or a half? To the power of a half. Everybody cool with that? And what would that be? A to the power of 3 to the power of a half and b to the power of a half. Everybody cool with that? Let's keep going. Now, would everybody agree with a to the power of minus 3? What's minus 3 multiplied by a half? Minus 3 over 2, or minus 1.5. And on the bottom, 3 times a half. A to the power of 3 over 2. And then on the bottom, b to the power of a half. Anybody have any idea how to finish this one off? Minus 3 minus 1.5, which is minus 4.5, which is minus. For those of you that aren't the best at fractions, just take out your calculator and do minus 3 minus 3 over 2. Don't worry your head about it. Okay? Next one. What's b to the power of 3 over 2 minus b to the power of a half? It's going to be minus 3. It's going to be minus 3 halves minus 3 over 2. Take away. Anybody? Take away minus a half. What do we get? Minus 2. Is that alright? B to the power of minus 2. Cool.
That's positive.
What?
That's positive. Oh.
Alright. Do you want to know what I can do then? Why don't I change that to 1 over a to the power of plus 9 over 2 and b to the power of 2. Just put them on the bottom. Remember what we learned earlier? That b to the power of minus 2 means 1 over b squared, and a to the power of minus 9 over 2 means 1 over a to the power of 9 over 2. Well done. Good observation. Okay. I'll start this off on 7 part 6. Does anybody know how to start off 7 part 6? It's actually quite easy. X to the power of, anybody? 7 over 4. And the bottom one will be? Anybody? 3 over 2. 7 over 4, take away 3 over 2 and you have your answer. Pretty handy, isn't it? And it will actually be a negative, won't it? Or a positive? 7 quarters take away 6 quarters. It's going to be x to the power of a quarter. Is that right? So we're going to get to do question 7. And yeah, 7, 8, 9. And what were the other ones we gave us? 2, 4, and 6, wasn't it? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 for tonight.